Is it Cajun? Is it Creole?
Maybe both.
Maybe both. But what we're going to do today is react to some other people on the internet's version of gumbo. And I think it's going to be, really? So many folks on the internet have their beliefs and understanding of New Orleans food, its culture. Today, we are going to do our reaction for gumbo. And as we've said before, we're going to be the law.
We are the law.
I am the law.
So, what are we going to do today? Today we're going to look at a YouTuber who is very, very popular. I'm a big fan of his show. Watch it all the time. I don't think he's going to be much of a fan of us after this. But
I think he's...
This is from November 2021 from Joshua Wiseman. The video is entitled Perfect Gumbo at Home. So,
that's a very high bar he's
right off the bat,
for himself.
His channel has 6.72 million subscribers. And the video has 1.1 million views as of this recording.
We are really punching up this time, aren't
Yeah,
we?
we definitely way above our weight class with this. But we're going to go ahead and start looking at this video.
Okay, so today we're making gumbo. Now, there are many different varieties of a gumbo, so I already know people can make a comment saying something like, Josh, you can't do this, Josh, you can't do that, what the hell, brother? This isn't Cajun, this isn't real hip. I get it, and I know the traditions, but the thing that's special about gumbo isn't just what goes into it. It is how it brings people together. It is how it is served. It is the taste, the texture, the unctuousness of what's in front of you that makes it special. Now, do you feel a little bad? We're using filet in place of okra because okra is disgusting. The texture of it is something like if you're eating and then someone sneezed into your open mouth.
So right up
I already know people will say, Josh, don't mix land and sea. You can't do that. It'll mask the seafood flavor. And while that is true in most scenarios, the thing that I like about this is it starts with a strong seafood base with an excessive amount of seafood that definitely balances it out quite nicely. Guess what? No one's going to get hurt, and it's going to taste mighty fine as it is. So, with all that said, let's make this.
Doesn't have any okra, so I'm already
upset.
There's nothing wrong with filet, but...
Reminder, if you want it ultra traditional, then stick with either just seafood or just meat. Now, granted, you'll have to add a little cheeky to the actual gumbo if you replace the meaty crab, man.
Is that
anyway,
king
you can't have a great
crab?
gumbo without a stock. That's right. We're
Not normal.
Shellfish.
You normally just use smaller varieties of crab.
Which is 2 onions quartered, 2 carrots rough chopped. Next, you need the shells from 3 to 4 lobster tails. Yes, we're going to use the meat. Fun fact, you can actually deshell a lobster without cooking it. Highly recommended. Just cut the hard ribs all the way down the underside, give it a gentle crack on its side, and carefully open it up, fiddling the meat from its shell, and it should pop right out.
That's lobster.
Reserve the meat and shells separately. Then you'll need 1 cup or 150 grams of shrimp shells, which would literally just be all the shells.
So I gotta pause it here for a second. So I get it. He does but better and stuff where he goes over the top. So far we've seen king crab, lobster, and shrimp is about the only thing I've seen. But gumbo is traditionally a dish that started to use whatever you had left. You were making a soup out of things like that. And look, you use whatever ingredients you want. I'm not judging him for that. What I'm judging him for is that king crab and lobster are very high-end ingredients. Along with being high-end ingredients, they're very expensive ingredients.
Doesn't entirely make sense for a gumbo.
To cook it down in a gumbo and lose some of those direct flavors you get for it seems kind of wasteful. Let's keep going here.
Yes, we're gonna add that shrimp too. Next, break down 3 clusters of snow crab, reserve the meat for the final gumbo, and place the shells with the rest of your stock ingredients.
Snow
Get
crab,
yourself a big ass pot. Add in just enough oil to coat the bottom.
I'd also like to mention, he didn't finish his mirepoix. He only did onions and carrots.
Yeah, well, we know he is. So.
Beef chuck roast. See those bad boys on all sides for 2 to 3 minutes each, or until you get some lovely reaction.
And I've never used a
shells,
beef as a beef seafood combo stock. That's different.
Then add about 5 quarts of water, a small handful of fresh thyme, then bring it up to a boil, and immediately reduce to low and simmer, skimming off any scum that rises to the top, and let that cook down for 5 to 6 hours.
Josh Sarah was being critical, but
and then your lovely surfy and turf, bro. God, I've always hated that term. It sounds awful. Right, before we make our gumbo, I have a dangerous subject we should jump into. Cajun spice. Now, brother, I know we love our Tony Chacheries, whatever the hell you're
Not even how you pronounce it.
That's your first of all, your accent sucks. Second of all, read the label.
Tony
Chachere's says Creole on the label, Josh. Doesn't say Cajun, says Creole. So, gotta get that right.
You're tangling with something completely different.
Eat this one shake, because it is hissing. Now, stop yourself in because it's a long list. In a medium bowl, add 1.5 tablespoons or 6 grams of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons or 17 grams of cayenne powder, 2 tablespoons or 12 grams of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of onion powder, 1 tablespoon or 6 grams of fresh ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons or 2 grams of dried thyme. I like to lightly crush it with my fingers and make it finer and bring out some more of its flavor. 1 tablespoon or 2 grams of dried oregano, 2 teaspoons or 8 grams of, guess what, buddy? It's in tons of store-bought Cajun seasonings, and it's freaking delicious, brothers. 1 tablespoon or 11 grams of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of ground white pepper, and 1 tablespoon or 13 grams of dark brown sugar. That was a doozy. Now, get into some whiskey business until thoroughly combined, and you have a Cajun spice I'm not afraid to put in front of any of my Cajun bon ami.
Alright, it is time. We begin with the ultra-important dark roux. In a large stock pot that's at least 10 quarts, add in half a cup or 90 grams of duck fat, and half a cup or 90 grams of lard or bacon fat.
So here we go.
Heat. Once that's melted, add in 1 cup or 150 grams of all-purpose flour. Begin mixing that together until thoroughly incorporated, and you pretty much have your roux. Now all you have to do is let that bad boy cook, stirring relatively frequently to avoid burning until it darkens to sort of a rich mahogany color. This will take about 15 minutes, so don't rush it. Take it nice and slow to achieve the proper color without burning. Once it's ready, you can now add what's called the Creole Holy Trinity, which consists of 3 ribs of celery diced, 2 onions diced, and 1 large green bell pepper, you guessed it, diced. Let that saute just until soft, and then add 4 cloves of finely chopped garlic, saute until fragrant, then add half a pound or 250 grams of andouille sausage and half a pound or 250 grams of kielbasa sausage, both of which are already fully cooked, smoked, and sliced half an inch thick on a bias. Stir it coat, and once that sausage is hot and rendered out some of its fat, add 2.5 tablespoons or 35 grams of your Cajun spice. Stir that in and let those spices toast for 1 minute, then add 3 tablespoons or 41 grams of Louisiana or Crystal hot sauce, 3 1/4 quarts or 3 liters of your stock from earlier, and 1 20-ounce or 750 gram can of crushed fire roast.
Okay.
Oh, did you just add tomatoes?
So, he keeps saying Cajun, and now he is adding canned tomatoes to his gumbo.
Cajuns and tomatoes do not mix.
Usually do not mix. And hey, look, I like, as you saw, if you didn't see our jambalaya episode, please check it out up here.
Tomatoey one.
We did a Creole and a Cajun, and I think they were both delicious, and they had their own uniqueness.
But one of the big differences was no tomatoes.
Yeah, it's just a cultural thing. And
no Cajun versus salt uses tomatoes in a gumbo.
We talk about that with the growth of these individual dishes as they came up. Tomatoes were not readily available, so
you didn't use them.
Yeah, this is more,
especially for something like this.
It's not using the tomatoes. It's decide which way you're going. You tried to model Tony Chachere's, which is Creole. You made a Cajun, in your words, spice, and now you're adding tomatoes. Pick one.
To tomatoes. Now bring them to a boil and lower the heat to medium-low and simmer for 1 hour. Alright, we're on the home stretch. After 1 hour of simmering, add in 2.5 teaspoons or 3 grams of gumbo filet powder. Simmer for 25 more minutes, then add in just the bottom segment from 2 clusters of snow king crab, the little pointy parts. They have less meat, but the shells contain a lot of flavor. I threw in a big claw as well. Why not? Now for the rest of those clusters, gently remove the meat and place it to the side. Next, you'll add 3 whole snow crab clusters broken into individual pieces, your 1 pound of raw peeled and deveined shrimp, and your raw and also peeled 3 to 4 lobster tails, which I also deveined and cut into
Seems like another waste
chunks.
to me.
Now lower that heat to low and very gently simmer that for 15 more minutes. Stir in another 2.5 teaspoons or 3 grams of gumbo filet powder. Simmer 5 more minutes. Add all your king crab meat, 3 tablespoons or 45 milliliters of Worcestershire sauce. Wow, I got it right that time.
Pause it. It shouldn't need that if you seasoned it properly beforehand. That's the Worcestershire sauce as well. But let's back up a step and talk about the fact that he's used filet now for a second time, and why are we using filet at all? Now, filet is the ground up root of the sassafras tree, all right? It was what the indigenous people here in the basin used to thicken up soups and stews when other things weren't available. Now, okra came to this area through the slave trade from Africa, through the Caribbean and here to the New Orleans area. And it is a fantastic thickener. That slime that everybody hates is what makes a wonderful thickener.
I mean, when you call it slime, you're not giving a good PR.
But it's a seasonal vegetable, so it is really only as good as when you can get it. nowadays you can obviously get it frozen or things like that, but traditionally, that's where filet came along because it was something that was dried and ground and could be used any time of the year. So, all right, back to Josh.
Nice. And once that meat is nice and warm in my mouth, you're ready to serve. Now, get yourself a shallow bowl and add in enough gumbo to your heart's content. Add a fat scoop of beautifully, perfectly steamed rice.
Gonna do the fancy restaurant seasoning.
I washed it. You did too. And finally, a nice little sprinkle of thinly sliced chives. That is a stunning bowl of gumbo if I ever doggone seen one. But oh wait, what's going into this bowl? Is that a pat of...
We are not going to watch his Creole butter.
Which, by the way, can't use because it's Cajun.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
So, overall thoughts on...
Should have just said it was Creole.
You know, this is like the fancified, super fancified version of a gumbo that some high-end restaurants in Las Vegas would serve you and swear that
gumbo?
Somebody made... It had rhubarb. I guess it's a gumbo, but I'm not a fan.
We're on the fence on whether to even classify it as a gumbo.
Yeah.
Now we're going to watch someone do it the right way.
So we're going to watch in Counterpoint Chef Isaac Toups. All right. The owner locally of Toups Meadery. He grew up in Rain, Louisiana. This is a Cajun boy.
Cooking is all about enjoying yourself, and I take that to heart.
He's good.
I'm Isaac Toups, chef owner of Toups Meadery and Toups South in beautiful New Orleans, Louisiana. Today at Munchie's Kitchen, we're cooking chicken and sausage gumbo. Gumbo is a Cajun stew that is very heartfelt in South Louisiana. A real Cajun, a proper Cajun, won't make gumbo until it's cold. Who wants to eat a big steaming pile of soup when it's hot? No one. It'll fill you up, it's heartwarming, it'll cure that hangover you had from last night because you were drinking. This is gumbo number one. This is the gumbo that I teach everybody, because you can get chicken thighs and smoked sausage anywhere in the continental United States. Everybody's got peppers, everybody's got celery and onions, garlic, bay leaf, flour,
and to me, this is kind of the heart of a gumbo, is that it's in every people's thing.
If you can't find these ingredients, you need to move. We got a pound of chicken thighs. I use boneless, but you can use bone-in. You can use whole chicken. I like the chicken thighs because they'll have the most flavor and a lot of fat, which is very nice. We're gonna put a little grapeseed oil, a little bit of salt, and a lot of pepper. Turn them over, season up both sides. Place in our wood-burning gas oven, which everybody has, obviously. Basically, you want to sear your chicken thighs.
I like that he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Sear it in a pan. The broiler setting in the oven is going to be your best way to go about this. You cook it probably 8 minutes on each side. You just want to get a good hard sear on the chicken. It's going to add more depth and more flavor on the gumbo. While our chicken is cooking, we're going to start our roux. A roux is a mixture of oil and flour, or fat and flour, equal parts most of the time. When this is your first time making roux, I want you to have your vegetables cut and ready to go first. The trick is these onions is you leave the end cap on, and that'll help out with a little trick keeping the onion together. And since the onion is a circle, you're gonna come at an angle. Watch your fingers. Use a nice sharp knife. Come back, make sure you get all the little root ends, because we want to use all of the onion, and actually what's left. Bell peppers, another little trick. The ribs are where the lines are, so if you cut the lines, you can avoid the ribs, and the end result is something you don't have to clean. I always use bell peppers. The traditional part of the Trinity. Trinity is celery, bell peppers, and onion. It's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, if you will, of Cajun cooking. And not to mention, you gotta remember the Pope, which is the fourth ingredient, and that's garlic.
Hey, he did it!
I'm gonna dice these up. Grab 2 ribs of celery. I will cut off the root part because that can sometimes get bitter. Our garlic, gotta be extra special with. Garlic is delicate. Use the back end of a cleaver. Put your garlic clove right in the middle of your cutting board and give it a nice gentle whack. That way you don't have to chop it up. You got minced garlic instantaneously. Yes, that's how I do it. Yes, you should too. It's real fun.
I can't really argue with that.
Take out your frustrations on the garlic.
I can't argue with that. That does look fun.
It's not optional. I would never say optional on garlic. Don't be a weenie. Put the goddamn garlic in. Oh, you
yeah.
You don't like garlic?
I like this guy.
Garlic. So he used to say he was allergic to garlic. He's not allergic to garlic. He just sweats it so he smells. I'm like, I think you smell great, bro. With our jalapenos, kind of want to do the same thing as the bell pepper. You can just kind of
that's kind of, you know, that is an addition that you wouldn't always see. A jalapeno.
Spicy addition in more ways than one.
And we're going to mix these up a little fine. Now you notice I mixed all my celery, onions, and bell pepper together, but I kept my garlic separate. The reason for that is because garlic has a low smoke point, as in that it burns real easy. We're going to sweat our vegetables off in the real hot roux, but we're saving our garlic for the secondary sweat. Once your oil has started to smoke, this is where you want to add your flour. Now, once you add your flour, you are not to walk away from this. You want to have your vegetables ready to rock. You want to have your beer open. You want to have your chicken stock handy. You walk away from a roux, you will burn a roux. If this is your first roux, do not walk away. If this is your second roux, don't walk away. You cannot overstir this. You can understir it and burn it. And this is half a cup of grapeseed oil, high smoke point, and half a cup of all-purpose flour. And essentially it's going to make a slurry, if you will. And this is what I call a white roux. Now in a couple of minutes, we'll have a blonde roux. You can already start to tell this is already going from white to blonde pretty quick. You'll notice if you let it sit even for a couple of minutes, it'll start to burn on the bottom. So if this is your first roux, go low and slow. If you're comfortable with yourself, you feel a little brave, feel a little duro, go ahead and get that oil nice and rocket hot and keep it on. I've got it on medium high right now. And you can already tell this is going to take a lot of time off of our gumbo. If this is your first roux, it should probably take 30 to 45 minutes. Medium level, it can take you 20. We'll probably have
so far, the only thing in his gumbo that's different than what I would do would be the jalapenos.
You get that whiff of dark roux in the air, and this brings me back. This is what home to me smells like. The food I grew up eating was very home-style food, boiled crawfish, raw oysters, gumbo, couvillon, stews, soups. We had a very experimental family.
Couvillon is a seafood soup.
My new place, my father liked to
normally
go to Korean restaurants,
I make redfish couvillon.
Come home with
sounds
jars of
great
kimchi, like, here, eat
if we can catch the redfish.
Redfish with a red sauce.
Okay.
With a tomato
slightly
sauce.
heavy-handed way. My father
Redception.
picky children, and he did not. And I've got him to thank for my wild eating adventures. Our roux is the right color. We're going to add our vegetables, but not our garlic. We're going to add a pinch of salt, a normal small little pinch. This is going to help release a lot of the moisture in our vegetables. Now this is going to go pretty quick. That roux is already really hot. It's about as hot as caramelized sugar gets. So these are going to sweat.
It's a bowl of napalm.
Normally would. While that's sweating down,
that's going to burn.
Sounds like it's right. Sure enough, it
If
is.
it touches you.
Nice and crispy bits. We're going to leave that fat in. And we're going to deglaze with just a little bit of our beer. But choose a nice amber style beer, maybe a couple tablespoons.
You want to get all those bits and pieces off the
Make sure
pan?
we get all that fond up. That's just a good crispy bit, and that's got a lot of flavor in there. Our vegetables are looking good. Now that it's calmed down, here's where we can add our garlic. At this point,
We have some critics here in the house too, as you can hear.
Yeah, they're very mad.
For a little while longer. Truly been cooking since I could see over the cooking ledge. I asked my mother, I was hungry. Well, she probably was very busy and called my bluff and handed me a pan and a spatula and said, cook yourself some eggs. Well, I can specifically remember cooking eggs like this. Now our onions are nice and translucent, nice and clear. We're adding our beer now. The alcohol will evaporate. You never want raw alcohol on a final product. It'll take away a lot of flavor from the gumbo. 8 ounces, about a cup. And we're going to give that a good stir. Stir it pretty vigorously for the next couple of minutes because we want it to make the gravy. Alcohol vapor. Now we're going to add our chicken stock, got a quart here, and we're going to add it and stir it. If you ever had your liquid to your gravy too fast and didn't stir it, you get lumpy gravy or lumpy stew because your flour congealed with it, and you don't want that. At this point, we can throw our chicken in. I can just splash a little bit of that gravy in there.
Surprised he didn't chop
Get
it
the
up
rest of that
any.
fond up there. That's one of the good parts. We can add our bay leaves, about 5.
There you go. Gotta add the bay leaves. And he has little small bay leaves, so that's why he
added
added
like
so
a couple.
many.
Half tablespoon of salt to
Normally
start.
you throw one good
Always
one.
add a little more salt, but you can't take it out. To about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 30 cracks of your black pepper. Yes, that's a lot. No, I don't care. I'm going to chop up our sausage real quick.
I can't really argue with
Smoked
that.
sausage. If you can find some andouille, get some andouille. If you can't, grab your favorite smoked sausage. And we're not going to get too fancy. We're just gonna
Simple
make
is
little
better.
coins. Think about how much
Simple is
sausage
better
you
when it
want
comes
in
to-
your
When it,
mouth
when,
at
it,
one
and
time.
when it comes to a gumbo in general,
Simple is
is
better.
better.
I make little coins. You can make big chunks. If I was at the house, I might not even cut it up. I might just break it up with my hands. Gonna add our sausage.
Very interesting way to do it.
Good medium high, and we're gonna put that on medium high until it comes up to a good simmer. We're gonna lower this thing down. You just kind of want it burbling, and yes, that's a complicated culinary word, burbling.
Burbling.
After we start to burble, we're gonna cover this thing and let it go. Stir it about every 10 to 15 minutes. You can't overcook a gumbo. One of the best gumbos I make, roll all day. Start them in the morning, serve midnight. But these have to roll for at least, I say, 3 hours.
Well, like a lot of the dishes we make,
Very
you
slow.
cook them low and slow, you intensify those flavors. So you can do less stuff to, you can add less stuff to it and get more flavor out of
Gumbo's
it.
cooking, we're just gonna slice ourselves some green onions, cook ourselves some white rice. I like to serve gumbo over white rice, it's very traditional. It's really just something to suck up all the juices and the fat.
I'm a traditionalist. I don't. There's a whole new group that like to do it over potato salad.
Ooh, you smell
Who
that?
does that?
Chicken's nice and cooked down. Roux cooked out. And grab ourselves a bowl here. Don't be shy with it. Don't pour yourself a small bowl. You're not gonna enjoy yourself. Throw yourself a little bit of rice or a lot of rice. Your call. Just really to suck up all the good juice. Garnish with little green onions. And enjoy yourself.
And that's how you do it.
Gumbo's gonna be even better the next day. Leave it on the stove overnight. It'll be fine. Fridge it up. Take something to work. Make everybody jealous. You're eating gumbo and they're just eating a cheese sandwich.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be jealous. It's good stuff.
All right, so you tell us in the comments below what you think of the 2 different versions of gumbo. You obviously heard our thoughts.
Yeah, you're very vocal about it.
I'm big fans of Josh and Isaac there. I've watched a lot of stuff they've done.
Josh could do better.
I've met Isaac before and we've eaten at his restaurant. I really think Josh likes to be a little more sensational about the stuff he does, and I think his over the top is really part of it.
And his accents are awful.
Horrible. Yeah, horrible. So please check out our other videos. Thanks for coming along with us. Check out our webpage at www.bigeasylife.org. And remember, thanks for being part of our Big Easy Life.